Wait, let's save the questions.
How long was you a missionary?
Hold on.
That's what I'm
Don't answer that.
He's gonna tell you guys things, and then remember we got candy for questions.
I'm not gonna say how long that's.
And tell you your business.
Okay.
Surprise.
Well, I thought it was gonna be Japanese.
It is my business.
Well, he's like half Japanese.
No.
And half American.
No.
But I thought he'd be speaking Japanese.
Should I start or?
I thought we meant some Asian.
No.
Okay, guys, make sure we.
Sorry to disappoint you. No, my parents were missionaries. I'm actually from Louisiana originally.
You're not a missionary?
No, I am.
You a missionary?
A missionary kid, technically, is what my title would be. But no, I was 2.5 when I moved to Japan. And I lived in we lived in Tokyo for 2 years, which is capital 2.5. And then we moved to Kobe, which is right next to Osaka, where you guys have been studying about. They kind of run together, both cities. There's about 3.5 million people, 4 million people between Kobe and Osaka. Yeah. It's a big area.
I got one question. Can you answer questions now? I'm staring at
But I was there from when I was in preschool, I guess, all the way up to graduate high school there. So
Did most of
18,
them-
17, 16 years, something like that.
The most of them in preschool and college.
I thought you'd be.
Did they speak almost?
But I thought it.
No, I went to an international school, so it was mostly European people, like from France, Germany. We had a lot of people from India.
So you learned German?
No,
How are you?
and a bunch of Americans. So,
Well, Carla's my aunt.
Oh, that's American
Yeah.
missionary.
I'm her,
That's
I'm her uncle.
So your house is Japan?
No.
No.
No, it's
All right.
different side.
That's the.
Listen, we can start questions, but you have to raise your hand.
Wait, and remember, guys. Remember how the families we learned about moved? That's how his family did. They moved.
So
To
think
be
about them,
missionaries.
Right.
okay? All right, Josh.
Okay.
There you go.
We'll start with you.
How long were you a missionary?
Well, like I said, 16 years.
Now what do I say?
Corbin.
Yes.
How many friends?
Now what do I say?
Okay. Thank
A
you.
That's
lot.
my question.
Come up with a different one.
Well, I think we looked at it earlier. It was what, 65 main
65
gods,
main
and then
ones.
over 7 million. Japan has 2 major religions: Buddhism and Shintoism. Most of the gods come from Shintoism. Buddhism came from China, and it's more about reaching
No, you don't get
inner
it.
peace. But all the god stuff is mostly Shintoism. So they've got temples for both.
Bro.
Yes. Kenneth,
Dude, how long have you lived in America?
let's see here. Was it
Oh, you came
23 years?
Okay.
Yeah. I graduated in 1999, and I went back into Japan the year after in 2000, and I've not been back since. It's just expensive to go.
Dude, I never want to go to Japan. I never want to.
But it's like, you like anime? That's like the big thing.
No,
All
yeah,
anime comes from Japan.
Yeah,
I don't watch anime.
Oh,
The
well,
only
never
anime,
mind.
only anime I watch is Naruto.
Oh yeah, Naruto's good. It was one of my favorites.
And
Yes,
Dragon Ball. Did your parents, when you was a kid, did your parents ever think about moving back?
Good question. I don't really know. Well, yeah, one year they did, but it was more. Well, it wasn't moving back to America. My dad got a different position in the mission, and they were supposed to move to Korea my senior year. And so instead of pulling me out of school my senior year and moving to Korea, they stayed in Japan, and then they moved to Korea the next year after I graduated. But I don't think they ever really thought about coming home until after I left. Then they wanted to, because I was here. And the mission decided to go in a different direction that they didn't necessarily agree. So, yes.
How's it like in Osaka, Japan?
Let's see here. You could go anywhere by train, bus, plane, taxi. So you don't have to have a car. You could, the way I went to school was I biked on my bike for about 10 minutes down to the train station, took a train 2 stops, and then have any of you been to Disney World?
No.
No one's been to Disney World. I took a monorail out the train station to my school, which is a train that drives itself. And then I walk 10 minutes to get to school, so that's how I got to school.
So
Yes.
like 5 trains and 2 cars.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not train,
And a bike, a bike. Yes.
I got a question. How many people you seen worship the other gods?
A lot. Like, temples are everywhere in Japan, like on every corner, kind of like how you have churches here on every corner, you have temples everywhere. So you'll see thousands of people during festivals and certain times of year at these temples. And what's really sad about it is, as modern as a country of Japan is, only 1% are actually Christian. They're very rooted in tradition and religion, and so if you think about it, Japan has Tokyo has the most amount of people in any city in the world. It's the biggest city in the world by
I
population.
thought that was New York.
And no, it's got more. I think it's
New York
got
has like
13 million,
40,000.
something like that. New York has 7, so it's almost double New York. But anyways, if you think about it, all those people are going to hell. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Millions of people down there are going to hell because you have 1% that actually believe in Jesus. It's kind of sad. Yes.
How many temples do you think they had over there?
A lot. I said they have temples like they do churches here. I mean, you're talking thousands of temples all over. They're pretty. A lot of temples are pretty and real well kept and decorated and stuff.
Like there's
But you'll see them, you'll see them go up and they'll do some kind of hand motion when they pray and do this kind of ceremonial stuff. Yeah.
How did they pray?
They're not really, I don't know. They'll pray to the god some, but usually it's done by a priest. So most of your temples are outside, and so they'll walk up to them, usually a group, and you'll have a priest already there, and he'll go through all these rituals and ceremonial things. They'll clap, they'll use like a little water ladle thingy and drink it, stuff like that. It's kind of weird. Grayson.
How long did it take to learn Japanese?
I never really, I was there 16 years, and I never fully mastered Japanese. It's a really hard language to learn, one of the hardest in the world. My parents, it took them really 4 years to really master it, so it takes a long time.
I got one question. What's a ritual?
What's my what?
A ritual.
A ritual is usually something that Japan would be like something you do on a daily basis, something that's habit, that's a ritual. So rituals in Japan, I guess, would be, I don't know what the temples do anymore for that.
Well, like the ladle and the water.
Yeah,
that
the
would be-
ladle and the water thing. A lot of them will write prayers on little pieces of paper and put them
You remember
on
seeing that wall, guys?
on the wall. They'll put them on sometimes bamboo trees, different things is a lot of the rituals. Yeah.
How many fake gods are there?
Over 7 million.
I swear, this kid keeps stealing my questions. He stole 2 of them.
Like Shintoism believes that there's a god for everything. So you have god of trees, god of rock, god of the sun, god of the moon. There's just I don't see how they keep straight. Yeah. Well, that's Roman, but it's the same kind of idea. Yeah. There's lots of them. I don't see how they keep them all straight.
Oh, man. No, they're better than that.
Yeah.
Get Kenan so nobody takes his.
Okay, Kenan. What?
How many different states and cities have you lived in?
Have I lived in?
Yeah.
Well, let's see here.
Question.
Or been
Make it
to.
really hard.
Lived in, I've only actually lived in Tennessee, Louisiana, Florida, Japan. But now I've been to Korea, China, Japan, Australia, Fiji, Philippines.
What's Fiji?
Fiji's a little small island out near Australia. America, Canada. That's really about it.
South, North America?
Yeah,
You
North
sound
America.
like my friend. He's been to like everywhere on the world.
Grayson.
Been to
How
Brazil.
many people did you tell about God?
Sadly, probably not many.
His daddy is a preacher.
Yeah, my dad was a preacher, and he worked at like a community center, kind of like Boys and Girls Club. And so he would teach kids about Jesus and teach them English and things like that in the community. They also had classes for adults and as well, but they did most of the missionary work. I mean, I told some people about Jesus, mostly kids at my school, but like I said, we went to international school, so most of them were, a lot of them were Christian, at least the Americans were, so you didn't, yes.
How many, so how many churches are in Japan?
Not many. It's, you've got, let's see, in the city I was at, we had, I don't know the exact number. I went to 2 different churches. My parents started a church for the Japanese people, so I would go there in the mornings. And since I couldn't understand or speak Japanese really well, my parents made me, or not made me, but we had to go to an international church, an English-speaking church at night in a different area. So we went to both.
How many places have you been in Japan?
Well, Japan is composed of 4 major islands: Hokkaido, Kyushu, Honshu, and Shikoku. I've been to 3 of the 4 islands. The only one I didn't go to was the one up at the top that looks kind of like a head. I don't know if it's, and that's where all, yeah, on there. That's where all the cows in the snow is. They have a lot of dairy farms up there on that island for whatever reason. Because it gets very cold, so I'm not sure how that works. Yeah.
How many different churches have you been to?
A lot. Dad would go speak at different churches every 4 years they would let us come home for a year. So technically I did my 5th grade year in Nashville and my 9th grade year in Florida. And so when we would come home, Dad would be asked to speak at churches all around, usually whatever state we're in. So I would go with him, so a bunch. Yep.
How many states have you been to?
States,
I kind of asked that question.
a lot.
I'm saying like how much?
I'd have to look at the map and count. Too many.
12,
Yeah,
1, 2,
Like
5,
probably
7,
30
20.
something, probably 20 to 30. Yeah, I've been to most of the states, a lot of the states in America.
My dad been to almost
Crazy.
every state.
How many friends do you have?
I still talk to several people from Japan and from my school. I wasn't super popular in high school, but I had some. So there was a bunch of other missionary kids that went to the same school as I did, so a lot of us still keep in touch. Yeah.
Are there mountains in Japan?
Yes. How Japan works is all the islands basically have mountains that go through the middle, and they're really steep. So you have very few cities in the mountains. Most of your cities are on the coast, and so that's kind of how it works. Japan does have a lot of like parks. So you would think city, probably not many, but they do. They've got parks everywhere, and a lot of the parks would be up in the mountains. So you go drive up there, and you just have these big, huge areas of just empty space or playground equipment you could play on. It was fun. Yeah.
Have you ever preached to anybody?
No, I've never done that. I gave my testimony once when I was a freshman in high school to a church in Florida, and it was very scary. Scary. I'm just not good at public speaking. I never have been. But my testimony though is I accepted Jesus when I was 5. I was little. Basically all the missionaries once a year would get together and have a meeting, and so they would do worship and meetings and stuff like that, and I accepted God then. But my thing is I was terrified of the water. So I was scared to be baptized because when you're baptized you go under the water and come back. So it took me 4 years later when I was 9 before I finally had enough courage to actually
I
go
can't
under
swim,
the
so
water.
when I got
Yeah, I
baptized,
can't
stuck my
swim well
ankle.
either. Yeah. So it took me 4 years before I actually got baptized because I was scared of the water. Crazy.
Was there any like earthquake or flood that about destroyed your
Yes, back in, what was it, 96, I think, there was a earthquake that hit Osaka and Kobe. Really, really bad. I think over 6,000 people were killed and a lot of the city was destroyed. You can actually find videos on YouTube of the damage still, but it was trying. We didn't have power for months. We had to have another missionary family because their house was damaged really bad move in with us. And so we had to live with them for a couple months. We didn't have running water, so we would have to go stand in line for water for hours. Even to go take something as simple as a bath, we had to go to another city just to take a bath. It was not a fun experience. That, it happened at 5:45 in the morning, so we're all asleep when the earth started shaking. We're trying run out of the house. And it was January too, so it was freezing cold. So we were all downstairs, me and my dad and mom and sister were all downstairs huddled in this little entryway because, you don't want to be, because Japanese houses we were in a modern house, so it wasn't as big a deal, but traditional Japanese houses, which is why a lot of people were killed, have these really heavy, I don't know if you've seen them in pictures, heavy slates, tiles for roofing, and so they weigh a ton, and when a lot of Japanese houses are wooden, so when the earth shook, a lot of them just fell on top of each other because of the weight. Yes.
Is there a dragon in Japan?
No.
I don't know one. All right, Riley, you have one more question.
Man.
Was there a tsunami in Japan?
Yes, there was one. This was after I left. The big one happened when, I think it was in
1996?
No, it was not too long ago. 5, 6, 7 years ago, it hit that nuclear reactor up in northern Japan that destroyed part of it, caused a lot of damage. I can't remember. I want to say like 2010, 2011, somewhere in there.
I think there's a
I
video
think it was
of
called
that.
Fukushima is the city, I think is what it was called. And that a huge tsunami hit it, and there was a nuclear power plant there, and it destroyed, I think, stuff leaked, like nuclear waste leaked and caused problems.
Was that half of the city destroyed there?
Maybe. A lot of it was. I mean, it didn't explode or blow up, but a lot of it just leaked out and got in the water and just melted a lot of stuff.
There's actually a video of that.
There may be one.
Yeah, there is. I seen
Sorry,
it.
Grace, that's what we know.
Okay, Grace.
Was there? How many festivals did you go to?
Well, one of
Yeah, that
Mom's
was part of our
the
video.
festivals. Well, let's see here. You'd have some that were they'd have a lot of dancing and stuff. Mom's favorite festival was called the Temple. It was it wasn't really a festival. It was a temple sale. Like the temples in Japan would all have these big sales where a lot of the people,
Flea
it was
market?
like flea market almost, or like a huge garage sale. People would bring their stuff to the temple and you could go around and buy it. And Mom would go and spend like hours just browsing these temple sales and drag me along with her for whatever reason. But no, you would have like little like games, like you could, one of the games they would let you play is they would give you a little net and you would try to catch this fish, but like the net would dissolve really, really quickly, so you had to hurry and try to catch the fish and things like that. And you
I
had,
have a question. Have you been to that one area, the Thanksgiving festival down there?
I don't know that one.
I can't remember what.
I've been to Disneyland in Japan.
I
You
never.
went to Disney in Japan.
Yeah, there's Disney in Japan and Tokyo.
Tell me how that went.
Wait, did they?
Kind of the same as, I've actually been to the one in California, the one in Florida, and the one in in Japan. So I've been to
Have you
3 of them.
ever seen a kid that had a? Oh my gosh, I don't know if you know him. His name is Jordan Jeffers.
Yeah, I know Jordan, like the basketball coach Jordan Jeffers.
Yeah, his son goes to school with him.
Oh, Colin
okay.
Jeffers?
Yeah, he goes to school with
He
him.
was on my basketball team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, our time's up. Does anybody want to pray?
And
Who's praying today?
And
You
Grayson
going to,
will.
Grayson?
All right. Your fourth foreman.
Good job, Grayson.
Oh Lord, thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you for Bible school and watch over missionaries and everybody else. Amen.
Amen.
It's actually 8